The rooster crowed just before dawn, its cry cutting through the still air like a herald of the morning. Jonathan stirred in his mat, but instead of rising with his usual vigor, he lay staring at the ceiling of his small mud house. The air was thick, heavy, and the silence seemed louder than usual. Once, mornings were his favorite part of the day. He used to rise before the sun, take his hoe to the field, and till the earth, while dew clung to the grass and birds filled the trees with chatter. He loved the smell of damp soil, the sight of green shoots breaking through the ground, the promise of a good harvest. But now that the world felt far away, as though it belonged to another man, Jonathan tried to sit up. Pain, sharp and unrelenting, shot through his bones. His body trembled as though he carried the weight of 10 men. He clenched his jaw and forced himself upright, sweat already breaking across his forehead, though the morning was still cool. His wife Miriam noticed. She turned from the clay pot where she was scooping water and hurried to his side. "You are burning again," she whispered, placing a hand on his forehead. Jonathan nodded, too tired to answer. He tried to smile, to hide his weakness, but his lips betrayed him.
Maybe it's just the weather,"
he muttered, but he knew it wasn't. The truth was undeniable. Something was wrong. His strength had been fading for weeks, no, months. At first, it was just tiredness after long days in the field. He told himself he was working too hard. Then came the fevers, the night sweats, the pain that clung to his bones like a shadow. Now, he could barely lift his hoe, let alone till the land that fed his family. Jonathan was 36 years old, yet he felt older than his father that looked before he died. His neighbors noticed too. In the market, whispers trailed him. "The strong man is fading. He must have offended the spirits. Perhaps he is cursed." He pretended not to hear, but each word sank into his heart like a thorn. That evening, when the sun sank low and painted the sky in crimson hues, Jonathan sat outside his house, staring at the horizon. Children ran past, their laughter echoing through the village, but he felt distant, like a man watching life through a window he could not open. Miriam sat beside him, her silence heavy. He wanted to ask what they would do, how they would survive, but she swallowed her words. Instead, she reached for his hand. "You'll get better," she said softly. Jonathan squeezed her fingers, though his heart doubted. That night, when the world was asleep, he lay awake listening to the cricket. He thought of his children, little Daniel and Sarah, sleeping peacefully in the next room. Would they remember him if he died soon? Would they grow up without their father's laughter, without his strong arms to carry them on his shoulders? He turned his face to the wall and whispered,
"Why me?"
His voice was raw, choked. He prayed, though he had not prayed in years.
"God, if you can hear me, take this sickness away. I don't want to leave them yet. How can I leave these children at this age?"
But the silence pressed heavier than before. Weeks passed and Jonathan grew weaker. The fields, once his pride, lay unattended. Weeds crept through the maize. Miriam tried to manage, but the load was too heavy. Villagers began to avoid their home, some out of pity, others out of fear. One morning, Jonathan forced himself to the marketplace. He leaned on a stick, his once broad shoulders now slumped. He went to a healer.
Drink this every night. Your strength will return.
The healer said. Jonathan paid with the last coins he had. That night, he drank the bitter liquid, gagging at its taste. He waited for relief. Instead, the fever worsened. He lay trembling while Miriam wiped his forehead with a damp cloth, whispering prayers of her own. Jonathan, we cannot stay like this. You must travel. Seek help elsewhere. Maybe in the next town. Maybe someone there will know what to do. Jonathan looked at her, weary and uncertain. Travel in his state, but when he saw the desperation in her eyes, he knew she was right. To stay was to die, to live was to hope, however faintly. That night, he sat with his children. Daniel, 6 years old, climbed into his lap. Papa, will you take me to the river tomorrow? Jonathan's throat tightened. He managed to smile.
Not tomorrow, my son, but soon. Be good to your mother while I'm away.
Daniel frowned, puzzled. Sarah, too young to understand, clung to his leg. Jonathan kissed them both and lingered in the embrace as though he were imprinting the moment into his memory. The next morning, Jonathan packed a small bag, some clothes, dried food, and the little money Miriam had hidden away. His neighbors watched as he prepared to leave. Some shook their head, whispering that it was useless. Others wished him well. Miriam walked with him to the edge of the village. They stood in silence, staring at the road, stretching ahead like a ribbon of dust and uncertainty. Come back to us.
I will.
He promised, though his heart trembled at the lie. He embraced her, inhaling the familiar scent of smoke and earth in her clothes. Then, leaning on his stick, he began his journey. Each step was heavy, each breath labored, but he pressed on. The road was long and lonely. The sun scorched his back by day. The cold beat him at night. Sometimes he wondered if he would even make it to the next town. Yet he walked, driven not by strength but by desperation. On the third night, as he lay beneath a tree, staring into the stars, he whispered again into the darkness.
God, if you are real, and I know you are, lead me to healing. Don't let me die like this.
The stars blinked back in silence. Jonathan closed his eyes, unaware that his prayer, though faint, had already set something in motion. His journey had only just begun.